Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Pints and Quarts from Craft Beer Nation. This is episode 9. It is August 8th of 2014, and we are going to do another 30 minutes of news from around the nation. Going to talk about some great beer from Asheville, North Carolina, and we're going to talk about some other great news stories from the week. I am Matt Miller. I'm joined by the normal panel of Lola Larissy, Doug Nolan, Ashley Bauer, and we have a special guest here tonight. We've got a special guest from Asheville Ale Trail. It's a website. We're going to dive into a little bit of that. His name is Hilton Swing, and he is one of the co-founders of the Asheville Ale Trail, which you could probably get into a little trouble if you try to say it too fast. But they are AshevilleAleTrail.com on the website, and they've got some great information there about what to do other than drink, including drink, when you go to Asheville, North Carolina. So some of us on the panel have been there, but I think I'm going to turn it over here now for a few minutes to Hilton and have him start off with a little background of what you guys set out to do and what your notions are about the website and the information services.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me this evening, and it's my first time on a Google chat with more than a few people on it, so it's kind of an interesting experience, but I appreciate y'all inviting us to come out and speak this evening. The Asheville Ale Trail got started like all things do. It's kind of like, hey, this is too difficult. Let's see if we can figure out something easier. I was talking to the co-founder one evening, and it was like, well, we want to go to the breweries. Let's go figure out what's going on tonight. And I think I ended up spending about 90 minutes trying to figure out what was happening that night in Asheville. You had to go to each individual brewery. Some places didn't have web pages. Maybe they only had a Facebook page. And, well, then what was on the Facebook page was different than what was on the website. Which one was updated? It was a mess. And so we just started talking and said, well, wouldn't it be a lot easier if there's just, why isn't there one website, like with the Visitor Center or somebody that does all this? So we started kicking that around and then came up with the Asheville Ale Trail. And it's a listing site for all of the breweries in western North Carolina, more or less all of them. We've tried to get all the ones that are with the Asheville Brewers Alliance, which is outside of the Buncombe County, Asheville area. It has members in Nantahala Brewing up in Bryson City, Bearwaters Brewing in Waynesville. So it has Catawba Brewing in Morganton. It's got quite a few different breweries outside of the Asheville area. But even in the last week or two, I've noticed a couple that are in western North Carolina that never heard of, but they've been brewing and doing their thing. So we're trying to figure out how to include them as well. Apparently, they're not members of the local Brewers Alliance, but they are members of other things. So we're we want to make it a regional destination, and really, it's important for the visitor. Having that kind of when a visitor comes to town, he or she knows that, oh, I've heard a lot about breweries in Asheville. And you hear so much about Asheville and brewing that even the casual visitor, someone who's probably not a craft beer aficionado, has heard something about breweries. And we wanted to make it something so that if they came in, went to the hotel, they could look it up online, find out what was happening that week, go explore it instead of maybe just going to one brewery, maybe go to 2 to 3, or if they were going to go to 2 to 3, see if we can push them to go to 5 or 7. Hopefully not all in one night.
Rent a car at least.
Yeah, exactly. A taxi, and so and then it just kind of grew from there. After it was a listing site, then it became well, this is going on, that's going on, and so then we started pushing the events and the just started tweeting the events or put them on Facebook or even on the website, and then we came out with a newsletter called the Weekly Six Pack, which you can sign up for on the website. That goes out every week, and it usually tells you what the next things are happening over through the weekend and early into the next week. Comes out on Thursdays. It comes out on Thursdays every week. Sometimes, if we're feeling ambitious, it comes out on a Wednesday. But those are festivals that are going on that weekend, cool live music events, and just very Asheville events, which usually have a lot of craft beer pouring at them. So, but Asheville. Asheville's a really interesting situation for the craft beer community in that we've got Sierra Nevada, which has opened its, I guess officially opened on Sunday. It's $110 million plus facility for the Eastern Seaboard and the East Coast. New Belgium Brewing, which will be coming online I think in spring of 2015 is kind of when they're figuring they'll be online. Oscar Blues Brewery in Brevard, well, only 30 minutes away. Between the three of those, you've got, I'm not exactly sure where Oscar Blues is on that list, but another top 15, I think now. But you've got the number 2 and number 3 craft brewer in the country within a stone's throw of each other, and with that is going to come a really interesting aspect of beer tourism. Asheville's already a tourist destination, but I think you're going to see more and more people who are coming in, going to visit those breweries, visit a few other local breweries, and that's going to be the primary focus of their time in Asheville, which will be kind of an interesting thing to see. I really don't know that there's anywhere else in the country that'll have that level of ability to service tourists and people who are really interested in craft beer, and even casual tourists who want to find out about it. I think it's going to be one of the top destinations in the world, really, for craft beer exploration.
Well, I am a beer fan, a crazy beer fan, but I'm married to a casual tourist. So if we come to Asheville, your website kind of gives insights on events and things like that. What can I tell my wife that she can do when we come to Asheville as well?
It kind of depends on, again, with the events and stuff, it depends on the week. But there was an interesting Catawba Brewing Company had a very interesting chocolate pairing with French Broad Chocolates, which is another kind of well-known local Asheville company that's doing real well and getting a lot of write-ups all over the place. But it was a beer and chocolate pairing. That's something you can probably talk the wife into.
Yeah, we know
you're
all
happy,
about
she's
it too.
Happy.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I mean, as long as I'm drinking the beer and she's eating the chocolate,
right.
We would have a good symbiotic relationship there.
Beer dinners, those are usually happening, which they can range anywhere from, I've seen them range anywhere from $40 to $75. And you start thinking, well, that gets a little pricey. But when you sit down and have a 4 or 5 course meal with 5 drinks being served up at the same time, $125, and you really don't even have to think about it. It just comes out. There's no decisions, and there's no, am I going to make the wrong decision? Did I choose the right wine or all that? I've been to a couple of those, and those are really, really nice experiences. Sierra Nevada's campus, there's really no other way to describe it, in Mills River, has 186 acres on it. The footprint of the brewery, I think, is about 20 total, 18 or something like that, in terms of what's going on there. So that still leaves them net 160 acres of interesting things, and they're going to have bike trails, they're going to have hiking trails, they're going to have a little put-in at the river where you can paddle your kayak up to it or paddle away from it. I mean, it's, craft beer is going to get combined with a lot of those great outdoor activities and the natural things that people love about Asheville anyway. And it's really poised to be a perfectly symbiotic relationship. And I think as more tourists come to Asheville, naturally they're going to learn more about craft beer. They're going to take that experience home with them. And whether it's Highland, whether it's Wicked Weed, whether it's Sierra Nevada or New Belgium, they're going to end up taking that experience back home with them. And when they get to the grocery store, chances are they're going to reach for that experience as well as the good beer. But oh, you remember that day we were at Sierra Nevada? Let's grab that. They've got a huge hop room that you can go in and smell the hops at Sierra Nevada, and I'm sure once you get a whiff of that and you have a great dinner out there and you make it home, you're going to want to crack open a can of the Torpedo, and that'll take you right back to standing there on that tour that day.
Yeah, I wasn't even there, and you just took me right back with that description. So, yeah, I mean, what was the thing you were talking to me before we went on the air about something floating, if it floats, or floated if it, what was that?
Well, yeah, like this weekend. I mean, there's, and this is kind of a more local, quirky Asheville thing, but it's called the Anything That Floats Festival, and it's our parade, Anything That Floats parade. And so this weekend, of course, I think there's going to be a ton of rain tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. But pretty much anything that can float down the French Broad River, you're allowed to go down there. It goes to the entry fee to do it. It's a big river parade, but the entry fee goes to RiverLink, which is a river awareness, clean community organization in Western North Carolina. and they have a lot of free concerts and stuff too that are great, and they do that down in the River Arts District. But so tomorrow, weather permitting, people will be putting in anything that floats down the river. I've seen bands on floats down there. I've seen 10 empty kegs tethered together, and people are on a platform floating down.
Did you say vans?
Bands, B-A-N-D-S.
I thought you said
a van might have gone down there too, though. So I mean, it's entirely possible. As long
a
as
van
you
would
can,
be a pretty impressive thing, yeah.
as long as you can
not
get it
down by
in,
the river, but a van in the river.
in the river. That's right. As long as you can get it in and out, you're in business. So.
Well, fantastic. So it sounds like you've got Asheville covered. I mean, this has been something you said you've been doing this 2 years in the making now, or more than that.
Yeah, it'll be 2 years in September.
Yeah. So what's next? I mean, obviously the brewing thing is just growing and going, and there's going to be 3 more breweries in Asheville before we're done with this interview. And I just found myself wondering, what do you guys envision now that you've got this audience and you've got this 6-pack weekly email blast? What do you want to do with that audience?
Well, the next thing was, what we found out was we thought just having a website would be enough. And so the next step was we realized a lot of visitors still weren't finding out about us. So we published a small visitor's guide, of which, if I was prepared, I would have had it within arm's reach here. I'll look around here for a second if I don't see it. But anyway, we've got a small visitor's guide to the area, and it's a little free publication. It lists all the breweries, and you can go around and check them off. Have you got a copy of it? Oh, let's see here.
Yep.
Now I can't figure out which. Yeah, there it is, right there. So,
Right here.
Ashley's got a copy of it. She's more prepared than I am. So we published that, and that came out right the last week of May, first week of June, and it has been flying off the shelves. It's a free publication.
Giving it away, yeah. That's
but worth every penny. I can guarantee you that. But what's interesting is the hotel concierges and the visitor centers. It's just really, I think it's even opened their eyes to the need and demand of how much people have heard about Asheville and brewing and beer and craft beer, and how much their customers really wanted to know about it. And so the people are picking it up. They're going exploring, and even other breweries are handing those out when they've already got the people there, because they're getting hounded with questions. I had one guy say, he's a server at one of the restaurants, and he's like, "Oh, I have to keep them right here in my apron because I just keep handing them out," and then say, "Okay, walk down to this one, walk over to that one, and then try that one tomorrow," and that sort of thing. So in terms of where it's going, it's been kind of an interesting journey. We, it's not a quit your day job kind of thing. But we're looking, because of the demand that we've seen here, we're looking to take the same idea into local markets. There's a lot of craft beer blogs and guides that kind of are a top-down sort of thing. They're trying to be more of a national clearinghouse of information and talk about national issues and articles about what's going on all over the country. But really, in terms of people exploring the breweries, it's a ground-up kind of thing. People want to get their feet on the ground. They want to go to the bars. They want to meet the people that are there. And figuring out how to connect with that audience and giving them the tools that they need to get to those places. So we're looking at, we'd like to see this in a couple other markets in 2015. We're looking at Charlotte and Raleigh to round out the rest of the state for a statewide version of this. And South Carolina, I'm not sure South Carolina has enough breweries in any one area, but I think statewide they've got a lot of interesting things going on.
Well, we're up to 12 in Charleston, but you would have a little bit of competition.
Right.
From CHS Beer Guys. They've got a not quite this good, but pretty close. Y'all's is way better, but theirs is great.
So we're looking at sort of the different markets, and with the website and the thing about a printed guide is the second you print it and you hand it out to people,
you've got 4 new breweries that aren't in there.
Yeah, it's not accurate. So I think really the value that we add to that is somebody picks that up, then they plug in Asheville Ale Trail on their phone or tablet or on their laptop if they're in the hotel room. But it works really well on the phones. You can put it on the phones. It'll show you a map of the breweries. You can press one. It'll say, navigate there, that kind of stuff. So having that local information of knowing, hey, what's going on at Catawba Brewing this week? It's right around the corner. Oh, look, here are tonight's events. That's really the model we're working at, and trying to get that information and keep it current is about a full-time job, but it's it's something that's really more the model of what we see moving forward, and trying to bring a whole new audience of these casual tourists into the craft beer community.
So it sounds like with all the breweries and everything that's going on that you could probably go down there and spend 2 or 3 weeks. But if you were to try to make a trip down there, I mean, how much time do you think would be a reasonable amount of time to visit? If I was, like Matthew was saying, with taking the wife and kids down there, let them go do their thing, and we go, hit up the breweries. Could you have a good time in 3 days there?
You can have a good time.
Oh yeah. No,
24 hours.
Yeah. You can have a great time. And
I'm sure they're not trying to hit every brewery. I mean, that'd be a tall task. But
I think you could easily have a romantic weekend with the significant other. 2 or 3 days, and you could make some mileage, and especially if you've got it mapped out ahead of time. Now, if you just showed out and you didn't know what you were doing and didn't know where you wanted to go, we've got an interesting thing happening in downtown Asheville on the South Slope, which I've been calling the Brewery District for a while. But we will have, Wicked Weed, Catawba Brewing just announced that they're moving there. A nice, really cool small nano brewery called Burial Beer is there. Twin Leaf is a new one that just opened up. Wicked Weed will be opening up a sour tasting, barrel aging only room in that same area just a few blocks away. Green Man Brewing, what am I up, 6 now? Highwire Brewing and Asheville Brewing. That's 8 breweries all within walking distance. So you get a hotel downtown, you don't have to worry about driving.
Well, not really walking distance, more stumbling distance.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to plan it so that the worst part of the uphill is at the beginning, and then you
start at the top and then work your way down.
Yeah.
Yeah, let gravity do the work. That's
Exactly.
really the and like Doug said, if I bring my wife there and have her find something to go do, then how many of these breweries can I hit in one afternoon? I think is what he was alluding to.
Yeah, but I think my wife, she loves sour, so I mean I could probably spend all afternoon at Wicked Weed and have a good time.
The food is great because my husband doesn't drink anything, so you go to Wicked Weed and he enjoys the food, and then I enjoy the beer, and he hangs out with me. It's great.
Yeah, and this they had a little opening at Wicked Weed a few nights ago to talk about, I guess it was last Friday, a week ago tonight, to talk about the sour room that's going to be down the street and the barrel aging. It's going to be unbelievable. I mean, it's going to be kind of a sort of Napa Valley winery experience. You're going to go in there, these barrels, stacked high up against the walls. They're going to have a special small menu of tasting items down there, everything from, little cans of smoked oysters to salty cheeses, all the things that pair really well. That's going to be something that anyone can enjoy. And I think once New Belgium and Sierra Nevada open up, then it's going to start to get interesting. Of hey, I'm only in town for 2 or 3 days. Now where do I go? Arguably, everybody would end up going to Sierra Nevada. They'll hit 2 or 3 breweries in that little cluster district. New Belgium's going to be in the, then it becomes, well, I'm going to have to stay 3 days if I'm really into it, or 4 days. It's going to start getting hard to get everything in once Sierra Nevada and New Belgium are fully up and running.
So as a guy who is really obviously proud of your town and your city there, what kind of impact has this tourism influx over the last couple of years really had? I mean, is it a tourist destination? I mean, is there more restaurants than you have people, kind of thing?
Asheville, I've been blessed to live in a lot of tourist destinations in my time. I grew up here in the mountains, but I also lived in Charleston, South Carolina. I lived in Savannah, Georgia for a number of years.
I'm born and raised there.
In Savannah?
Yep, born and raised.
Yep, and that was a great town. Lived about 10 years down there. Loved that. So it's kind of interesting to see the patterns now. When I was a kid in Asheville, there wasn't a whole lot open on the street level. I mean, the downtown it was starting to come back, but it had been largely abandoned, and like Charleston, like Savannah, a lot of these places, it's got back. I think you'd have trouble finding a building that wasn't rented on the street front in Asheville right now. So there are a lot of great independent restaurants there. These independent restaurants are big about serving independent local beer as well. In terms of an actual how many visitors come to visit the area with the idea of just exploring craft beer, probably not a whole lot yet. I mean, it's still a younger set, but I really think that that's going to start changing, and that's going to be a significant number of travelers' primary interest over the next several years. But the great thing about Asheville is, and I think what makes it a great destination for craft beer lovers and everyone else for that matter, is it has so many other things to offer. So, even the best of us can get burned out on beer from time to time. So,
lies.
Spread by the wine industry.
You can get burned out on beer, but you can't get burned out on French broad chocolate.
There you go.
I'm eating a cookie from there right now. I brought home from last week.
French broad
chocolate.
Okay, it sounded like you said French fried chocolate there for a
second. I'm sorry, it's my accent.
Well, and besides
French fried chocolate would be good too, though.
Besides the positive impact that the tourism dollars has, I mean, if they build a 186 acre facility that's 20 acres of business and things to do, they're employing a significant number of people there too. I mean, this has got to be good for your unemployment and your employment numbers around town there as well.
Yeah, there's an interesting article in the local paper not too long ago that was talking about what those jobs were, and guys in the packing house and on the bottling line. I think there's a large romance aspect to work in a brewery, and you think you're going to be creative and making beer every day. A lot of it's filling bottles and packing crates and packing six-packs and that kind of stuff, and the pay is in line with those tasks.
Right.
So it's not a a lot more of the businesses are living wage certified, and I think that those craft brewers tend to know what their responsibility is with the community, and so I think they're not paying minimum wage, but they're trying to pay living wage, and they're trying to be living wage certified.
Yeah.
But Wicked Weed, they've announced a big expansion of a $5 million expansion, and they're going to be bottling their famous Freak Double IPA and the I can't remember what the other one is. Hot Burglar, I think. Yeah, is going to be the other one. They'll be shipping that out in 12-ounce bottles, and Wicked Weed, which started in December. It'll be 2 years this December that they'll have been open. Barely a year and a half now. They'll be employing right at 200 people. So that's a business that wasn't here and now has 200 people on the payroll. So that's pretty significant.
Well, that's fantastic. Anybody else have any questions about this? This is fantastic information. I mean, Asheville is the East Coast version of Portland. So if you can't have the rainy countries of Portland, Oregon, we at least have the hill countries in Asheville, North Carolina. So if you're on the East Coast, make a trip, get down there and see this place. And before you go, or as you're there, be sure to confide in and rely on the great information that comes from AshevilleAleTrail.com. I mean, Hilton works every week and sends these emails. How many people do you have there? Is it just a bunch of volunteers? Because that's what the nation here is. So.
Yeah, it's 2 volunteers, me and my business partner Dan. So it's that
2 guys
in a letter goes out to about 1,700 people a week, and it's we hear all the time. In fact, I was standing in a bar several months back, but there were 3 people at the bar. Oh, did you see that in the newsletter? And they didn't know I was standing there. They didn't know who I was, but that was a little bit rewarding. Now if I can just figure out how to make it actually rewarding. So
yeah, two guys in a MailChimp, and they build a business.
That's right.
That'd be a good start, right? I mean, you've got some advertising dollars in here, and
it's our new guide will be coming out in October, and we've already had some new breweries wanting to add to it, and we've had a lot of interest from in there. We also put in that guide because people, it's not just beer that they're there for. We tried to put what we kind of figured were beer-friendly businesses. A lot of independent restaurants in there. Excuse me. Things to do, the zip line tours, adventures. We tried to make it, if you were coming to Asheville and you wanted a great weekend, could you pick up that guide and use that and nothing else? And I think we've done that, and I think we're going to be improving it.
I wouldn't have known about Farm Burger if it weren't for your guide. Now I'm going to go back to Asheville and get myself a burger.
Oh, they got unbelievable burgers.
And that says something.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was going to say she's a vegetarian practically.
Yeah.
So
I know.
getting her to eat a
That's
burger is a
saying
special.
something.
She needs to know the name of the cow that it came from.
Exactly.
And that it lived a good life in the field. So.
Well, Farm Burger uses grass-fed beef, and they're always, it's, again, burgers can kind of be overdone and charred, but man, they make some damn good hamburgers there.
All right, well, we are running right up against a half hour because Hilton is quite the awesome guest here. So we're going to burn down through a couple of beer releases that are coming out here this week. We're going to, you know what? I want to talk real quick about Greg Golightly's little beer. We did I saw a beer review this week. Actually, I saw it this afternoon as I was looking, just as it came out. This guy, Greg Golightly, which I'm assuming is a new opportunity to abuse the name conventions that Google waived last week. I don't think Golightly is really his last name. But he drank a beer from Rivertown Brewing in Cincinnati, Ohio, called Little Sippa. And we had a bunch of breweries brew an IPA for us last year called the Social IPA or the Big Sippa.
Mm-hmm.
And they now have a beer called a Little Sippa, which is a fractional or a session IPA. And I saw the picture and I thought, oh, this is too good. I can't not talk about this guy's review. But he had some mixed feelings about it. He said this is a more drinkable and summer-like, good taste but less bitter aftertaste. Which the two others, which he refers to as, he compares it to Founders All Day and Upland's Campside. He says it doesn't have it less bitter aftertaste, which the other two have in spades, but the smell doesn't live up to what they deliver. Probably hop quantity all the way down the line there, but provided the local store has this in stock, this will be my beer tomorrow while floating next to a boat. I'm not driving the boat, I'm floating next to it, and it fits all the requirements. It's in a can, it's a session alcohol level, and it's quite tasty. And you know what? Honestly, the quite tasty is the only thing that matters to me in anything. So this guy's found a good beer. They might have stolen our name, but good for them.
Yeah.
And if I didn't say, that was called Rivertown Brewing Brewery from Northwest Cincinnati. So that was our review of the week from Greg Golightly. I can't say his last name without.
I was thinking of Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakfast
Holly
at
Golightly.
There you go.
Maybe he's the brother that she thought died. He's Fred.
That might be too obscure of a reference for anyone else to get, but it might be.
We're gonna have to have a viewing party. Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Was that which of the Hepburns was in that?
Audrey.
Audrey, yeah, there you go. So if you're a big Audrey Hepburn fan, Lola just dropped some knowledge on you there.
Yes, I did.
It would have changed the movie entirely if it was Kate Hepburn.
It would have
been. It would have been different. Yeah.
Been. Although she was quite the stunner in those days too.
Oh, she was, but she wouldn't have been as innocent seeming as Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah. The beer releases that I've got on the list this week, Upsole Brewing in Boulder has got a Thai-style white IPA, gingers, lemongrass, Thai basil, and coriander in there. That, to me, sounds like a pretty interesting beer. New Belgium, there you go. It says Fort Collins, but they're probably going to also have it around Asheville, is Hop Kitchen, their Imperial IPA. Number 7, Hop the Pond, I guess. So High Wire in Asheville has got Lion Tamer Red Ale that's just out. Have you had?
That comes out. Yeah, it's already out in stores, but I think they're releasing the brewery is next Friday or Saturday, and that'll be you can get the details on the Weekly Six back at the website.
Oh, there's a nice little plug. Shameless and well played.
There you go.
Terrapin's got something coming out. It's an Imperial Pumpkin Pie Porter. Sounds delicious. I'm just not ready for it yet. Jester King's got in Texas has got their Snorkel Farmhouse Ale Goza.
Oh,
there's snorkeling on a farm?
It says it's inspired with oyster mushroom. That's like a whole bunch of words that don't seem like they belong in the same sentence.
There's an oyster mushroom.
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Due South has got a Maple Orange Imperial Caramel Cream Ale coming out because because everything has to have 40 freaking words in it now, I guess. So I need 30 flavors in this beer. If I don't have 30 flavors, don't put it out.
I don't know. I might have to drive down to due south for that one.
That's pretty nice.
Crooked Stave has got a Valil artisanal Saison double dry hopped barrel. I'm gonna stop reading this shit. I just can't.
Too many words.
You just can't. I mean, what's the brewer going? Oh my goodness! I need a farmhouse ale goza because there isn't one of those out there yet. And you know what? Let's throw mushrooms in it. All right, there we go.
How do they put that on the bottle? It must be like all up and down the bottle.
So anybody wants to talk to Doug Nolan, they better talk to him early because tomorrow he's going to spend noon to 6 at the Micro Festivus, which I can only hope is an honest tribute to
Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah, Micro Festivus for the rest of us, a Seinfeld reference. That's in Roanoke.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's the 17th year of the festival. It was on this afternoon, then it was canceled, but it was open back up and moved locations because they're calling for pouring down rain tomorrow. So now instead of being in the park, it's in the parking garage.
That's all right.
It's 6 hours long, and our homebrew club does the judging of the beers in the morning, and I'm pouring in the afternoon.
Hey,
so it should be a good old
better to be in a garage drinking beer in Roanoke than on the river in Asheville if it's pouring.
I think tomorrow it's going to be a little interesting there.
I was a little nervous before they. I heard that they moved it because I really the thought of drinking beer for 6 hours in the rain just didn't quite.
The best beer festivals are muddy as all get out.
Yeah, what was that one you go to every year, Ashley? That was all muddy. Brewvival. If it's not muddy, it's not. It's got to be Woodstock-esque, or it's no fun.
What was it? Yeah, the year before last, I guess. Brewvival had the heavens unopened. I mean, walking around in waders. It was halfway up their shins, and I mean, it was.
There were mud angels. There were mud cannonballs. It was such a good time.
Well, for you Canadians, if it's not raining there, you can get out this weekend to the Halifax Seaport Beer Fest. Obviously in Halifax, that's today and tomorrow. Las Vegas, folks, if you like the dry heat, you can get out in Las Vegas to the Las Vegas Beer Festival. That's creatively named. I mean, 40 names, 40 words in the beers, and the best they can come up with is the LV Beer Festival.
They don't need anything else. They're Las Vegas.
The California.
Why can't all beers be like this?
Single. There you go. Hardy one. Yeah. The California Beer Festival is at Santa Cruz, and it's Aptos Village Park just tomorrow. And Belgium comes to Cooperstown, New York. I guess they're going to the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's tomorrow. Bend, Oregon has a Bend Brew Fest. That's going to be next weekend, the 14th and the 16th. And Parker, Colorado's got one coming up called Art and Ale Brew Festival. That's on the 15th. And Stone's 18th Anniversary Celebration Beer Festival is at the Cal State San Marcos campus next weekend, the 15th and the 16th. So that is a listing of the shows. Do we have any?
Beer drinking at a college? That's not done.
I can't believe they're drinking the good beer there. Usually that's where Keystone Light lives.
Or Magnum. I remember I used to drink something called Magnum.
That's why the student loans are so high.
That's right. I need an 18-pack, and it needs to cost me less than $10. So.
I used to get it from the bin. You know the bin where they have ice in there and you get single beers? 50 cents.
50 cents.
That was a long time ago.
I was in a fraternity 20 years ago. My job was to stock the vending machine with beer that they could get cans of beer out. So
I wish I'd gone to your college. I would have loved that.
We made a killing on that Pepsi machine, I'm telling you.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, maybe the single greatest idea I've ever heard.
So 50 cents in the Pepsi machine, and you get a Schlitz. So that is the week. Anybody got any final comments? All right. Well, thanks a lot to Hilton Swing for coming out tonight, spending some time with us, drinking a beer. We didn't get to talk about his beer, but he was drinking it. So, but thanks for coming out, talking to us about
Asheville. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Very much.
Everybody wants to go to Asheville, and now when everybody does go to Asheville, they've got a great reference. They can go to AshevilleAleTrail.com, get all the information they need. And honestly, I'm going to sign up. I don't live anywhere near it. I'm probably not coming for quite a while, but I want to get on this 6-pack mailing list because
I just signed up.
It sounds like some good information. And I mean, and if you guys are going to go to all that hard work to send it out, I'm going to sign up for it as well. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, and it may be especially like, you may not want to be on it year round, but if you know you're coming to Asheville in the next month or so, sign up for it and then drop it back out when you're done. But, we've got a bunch of, I was listening to your list of festivals, and there's plenty coming up. The big Brewgrass, which is a big one for Asheville, is late September, and a couple others coming through the fall. So definitely come up to Asheville, visit us, and say hello.
The Cask one's one I've always wanted to go to.
Yeah, well, us
Oh,
here
that's Firkenfest. Is that the one you're thinking
Yeah,
of?
the Firkenfest. Yeah.
in the Shenandoah Valley, us folks here,
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
we dig our bluegrass music, so brewgrass sounds kind of like a good time. So
Bluegrass is awesome.
until
I
we
love
do,
bluegrass.
until we do this again next week, we'll come at you with another 30 minutes of news and a great guest I've got lined up for next week as well too. So until next week, everybody, find some good beer. If it's Asheville beer, that's even better. So find some good beer, hang out with your good friends, and mind your P's and Q's.